This is what I love about Baguio. It has lots of parks and a lot of nature places. There are some parks that are filled with people. After all, it does attract a big crowd. There are some parks where you're secluded, like this one. Parks like these are important for the environment, and I'll explain that one a little further. Right now, we're going to travel to what we call the Baguio Botanical Garden. And let's get there. To get to the Baguio Botanical Garden, we just need to ride along this road called the Leonard Wood Road. Right now, it's morning and the traffic is pretty much low. The sun is brightly shining. We just need to pay the entrance fee and we can finally enter. This place is accessible to people with disabilities. This ramp is designed for wheelchairs. It can also be used in simply pushing your bike. I like bringing my bicycle here. Like I said earlier, parks like these are beneficial to the environment. It actually contributes to what we call the biodiversity. It's great for the local flora and fauna since it benefits all organisms. Today we'll talk about the biodiversity that can be found in parks. Baguio has a mix of different types of plants in its vicinity. That's going to benefit a lot of creatures. I like to give an example on why biodiversity is pretty much important. Try to imagine if this is a farmland. A farm will require tilling of the soil, pesticides, and constant fertilization. Tilling the soil will remove unwanted weeds and some creatures. Pesticides will get rid of harmful and beneficial creatures. In the end, only one creature will benefit on a farmland, and that's the one consuming the crops. It doesn't matter what type of produce is created. Once the land is overfarmed, it will lose its nutrients and needs fertilizers for it to be fertile again. I'm not saying that farms are bad, we still need to feed ourselves. But having a botanical garden can benefit every creature that sees it. Having a botanical garden means there is a variety of plants that will attract different creatures. Different insects will get attracted to the plants. They may pollinate the flowers and may consume the fruits, leaving the seeds behind. This will allow it to germinate. Not to mention, they also serve as food for other organisms like birds and bats. Plants will also benefit from the birds and bats since they spread the seeds of the plants by eating its fruit. They can also get rid of parasites like termites. This will make the tree or the plant healthier. And in return, the animals will get shelter from the plants. Hawks and other birds of prey will also benefit from a botanical garden because they can finally prey on something with sustenance. Remember when I mentioned bats are attracted to botanical gardens? Birds of prey actually feast on bats. They also feast on other birds as well. Birds of prey can actually put a check on overpopulation. Too much of one organism is kinda bad. Too much herbivores can produce desert lands. We don't want something like that. This is also the main reason why biodiversity is pretty much important. It helps the ecosystem. If one species suddenly disappears, the other species that depend on that particular species will also disappear. Can you imagine a fox going extinct and suddenly too many herbivores are running around eating every vegetation? Pretty soon you'll have a desert. Another benefit of biodiversity is that they can also cater to endangered species. Let's give an example. The koala. The koala can only eat eucalyptus leaves. It can sometimes eat other leaves, but its main diet is eucalyptus. The eucalyptus tree is a flowering plant. It will require insects for it to be pollinated. Sometimes its fruit can be dispersed by different birds. Without those two other animals that I just mentioned, eucalyptus will probably have a hard time spreading through the forest, and hence the lower number of koalas. With fewer eucalyptus trees, it's either that the koala will die or they have to learn to feed on other plants as well. It takes decades for a eucalyptus tree to actually be a tree. Let's now look into the history of this park. This park was once a zoo. It has animals from different locations. However, it turned into a botanical garden since caring for animals may be a little expensive. So they just leave it as a garden and leave it as it is. Sooner or later, the local wildlife actually came in on their own. I really think this is a better move. Just let the animals run free. This place have different names. One is the Botanical and Zoological Garden. Like I said earlier, it was once a zoo. It then turned into Centennial Park because it was the summer capital of the Philippines for 100 years. Later it was known as the Igorot Village because there were lots of sculptures, carvings, and different items that came from the Igorot people. Then it finally turned into Imelda Park because this was the name of the first lady back in the day. And finally, it now turned into the Baguio Botanical Garden. This park contains multiple friendship areas. The friendship areas is just part of the park that's inspired by a certain country. For example, one area is from the United States, the other is from China, then one from Japan, South Korea, Canada, and Thailand. Every element will contain part of the country's culture. It may also contain a statue of an elephant that's certainly something from Thailand. It can also have elements of China because there is a pagoda. And the one in Japan will also contain an element that's a little unique from Japan because it has a bamboo forest. It also has a sunflower farm and different gardens that also is unique to a certain ecosystem, like cactuses. There are lots of artists that will flock to this area and present their artwork. It may be in the form of photography, painting, sculpture, and sometimes music. You will also see multiple vendors that selling their goods along this area. You'll see multiple coffee shops and different eateries in this place as well. Please do them a favor by simply purchasing from them. You will improve the local economy. That trinket that you may have purchased might actually help someone. Not to mention, it makes a good souvenir. If you're in luck, sometimes there is a live band playing in this area. This is also a good place to conduct a concert. You might even meet some interesting people in this area. I saw a Bolivian performer. He shares his culture with us by simply using musical instruments that came from Bolivia. He also likes to perform his music using our local musical instruments that's made out of bamboo. By doing something like this, he's trying to bridge the gap between America and Asia. Here's also another thing I like to show to you guys. I said earlier that there's lots of friendship areas in this garden. This garden will have a Japanese friendship area, and this is a bamboo forest. Walking by these bamboo trees, it feels like as if you're in an enchanted tunnel. By the way, the bamboo is actually a type of grass, and it's not a tree. So I have to sometimes double check myself because I may have forgotten a little bit of botany once. In this pathway, you'll see different types of Japanese kamis or Japanese gods. The Japanese actually believes in a lot of things like Shintoism. They believe that there are spirits in everything, including inanimate objects. However, at this point, I'm trying to show you another thing. The Baguio Botanical Garden will actually contain a tunnel. This was dug by the Japanese back in the day. It was used as a bunker and as a storage. I may have failed to show you what's inside that particular tunnel because I don't think my camera will see anything inside it. Visiting the Baguio Botanical Gardens can be enlightening. And when you pay a visit, don't just go there and take a look. Try to take your time and talk to locals. You might find something very interesting about the history of the place. After all, there is a little difference between exploring and just paying a visit. Take everything in and take it slowly.